What's good, two-man show boy Mickal Neps, aka Mr. Nep Hero Boy, and today, man, we're back with part 2 of the mini murders of T-Roy King Von's best friend. Like I said, we're back. Let's get into it.
On the 9th of January, he was arrested on a warrant, likely due to being out on bond after the previous legal problems that he had already racked up. However, about a month later, T-Roy would be released, and not just him, but also his right-hand man, King Von, with Boss Top, welcoming both home in mid-February. But at the same time, sending a warning to all of their ops, the O-Block's top shooters were back in the South Side streets. And the ops had reasons to be fearful, because only a little over a week after the murder of the innocent man Billy Sargent in September 2013, the O-Block and 600 Alliance had lost one of their biggest rappers, L.A. Capone, who was murdered on the 26th of September by members of 051 Young Money. The death of L.A. Capone, who is still considered to be one of the most charismatic artists to have ever come out of the Chicago drill scene, hit 600 and O-Block equally hard. Together with the murder of J Money earlier that month, the O-Block 600 Alliance was thirsty for revenge, and that's exactly what they would get in 2014.
See, L.A. Capone was a rapper to go crazy. He was a rapper to just, you feel me? Like, he was that rapper for real.
Because in March, 051 Young Money's biggest rapper, Lil Mark, real name Mark Campbell, would put out a scathing diss track aimed at O-Block, 600, Lamron, and all of the other Black Disciple sets who had formed an alliance in the Chicago streets. This diss song was called No Competition, and it was named after Lil Durk and Lil Reese's diss song against the Ops called Competition. In the song, Lil Mark would diss numerous O-Block, 600, and other members from the alliance, and the music video would even include a clip of Lil Mark being on FaceTime with Lil Reese, making it clear that there was a deep animosity between these two.
What's all on? Alright. That AO shit. Uh-huh. What up? Out here. I'm on fast, boy. I've been out here. I stay out here, boy.
The song itself made Lil Mark the prime target for the O-Block 600 Alliance to get revenge. And on the 28th of March, only a few days after the No Competition music video was posted to YouTube, Lil Mark was standing at a bus stop on the 300 stop.
That's crazy, dog. He dropped the music video, went to a bus stop, and I don't know how, I just don't know how they found him, how they got him, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how, but RP
51st Street, which despite the street number was about a mile away from 051's hood on the opposite side of Washington Park. While at the bus stop, a silver van would pull up and somebody would hop out, opening fire, hitting Lil Mark in the head and killing him on the spot, with graphic images of Lil Mark laying on the ground at the bus stop circulating on social media in the following days. One witness would describe to the police how the shooter had an extended clip, but they were unable to see their face. Several hours later, the police would find the van used in the shooting about 2.5 miles away in the low-end area, but the van, which had Florida plates, was engulfed in flames. Once again, immediately after Lil Mark's death, while 051 members were paying homage to him, such as their most feared shooter 051 Melly, who would seemingly jump in the streets looking for revenge as soon as he heard about Mark's passing. Meanwhile, Von, T-Roy, and other O-Block 600 members would begin dissing him relentlessly and insinuating their involvement. 051 were a violent set with a lot of enemies, and people from O-Block, 600, and THF were all celebrating the tragic news. However, even beyond the celebrations, one video would circulate seemingly showing King Von, T-Roy, and D Rose from 600 together in a car driving past Lil Mark's death scene, all while police were still combing the evidence.
Hey, so took off 51st!
Damn, body down.
I was not gonna see you bro. Tweaking, bro.
Body down. 51st gang.
Man,
Lil Mark would become one of the most diss ops.
And they know what they're doing too, which is, it's crazy. Like, that,
amongst the O-Block Alliance for years to come.
I'm tired of smoking Tuka, so you know, this one I'm finna be smoking that. It's called Lil Mark.
I'm right here kicking on Lil Mark. Dirty ass. Dang. Marky.
That shit we so much yesterday, son.
Marky.
I never would sleep in the studio.
Meanwhile, members of 051 would insinuate that O-Block may well have been behind Lil Mark's murder, like the rapper Driller, who tweeted that he would kill the whole of O-Block just to bring Mark back. Unsurprisingly, people like Von, T-Roy, THF Twiller, and D Rose would become the main suspects among Chicago drill fans. But officially, the investigation would seemingly move nowhere, and it still remains an open case to this day. But what makes the death of Lil Mark particularly sad and mind-boggling is the fact that he had seemingly been almost gotten by the very same people only days before his death, with people like Von and Twiller seemingly tweeting about having nearly caught Lil Mark just days before the murder. Ultimately, however, as the years went on, T-Roy and King Von would have less opportunities to kill, and having already caused so much pain in the streets, it was only a matter of time before T-Roy himself would ultimately be caught lacking, in the end suffering the very same fate that he had subjected subjected his rivals to so many times before.
Damn, the death of T-Roy already? That quick? Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes I wonder, like, what happened if nobody from the Chicago scene passed away? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, what happened if L.A. Capone, Duck and them, T-Roy, Von, Mark, Tuka, I'm talking about Brick, I'm talking about everybody from the Chicago scene. What happened if they didn't pass away? Like, what happened if they're all alive? Like, it would just be different. Like, what happened if they weren't cool with each other, but like they had an understanding and they respected each other. You know what I'm saying? Like what would you think would happen if they were all still alive? You know what I'm saying?
Later in 2014, the
This
deathly
is what we're
trio,
living, man.
Von, T-Roy and D-Rose, would all get locked up again on different occasions. But while T-Roy would eventually be back on the streets for a period of time in 2014, this wouldn't be the case for Von, who would get charged for the murder of Malcolm Stuckey in July, only months after allegedly killing female shooter K.I., with Von remaining in jail and fighting the Malcolm Stuckey murder case for several years until the end of 2017. Von would end up beating those charges, but D-Rose wouldn't be so lucky, as he would not only be charged for the murder of Venzel Richardson in April, but eventually he would be found guilty for that murder, being sentenced to a monster bid of 40 years in jail. Perhaps it was the fate of these two that would make T-Roy calm down a little bit, because after the murder of Lil Mark, there wouldn't be any more bodies that have commonly been pinned on him in online rumours. And unfortunately, the next murder associated with his name would be the murder of T-Roy himself. In 2015, T-Roy would be arrested and charged with unlawful use of a weapon, among other charges, and he would reportedly spend over a year in jail. And at the end of 2016, O-Block would suffer another major loss when one of their most respected members, Big A, was shot and killed in a restaurant near O-Block. Perhaps it was the murder of Big A, who was a close friend of T-Roy, that would make T-Roy get active in the streets again. Or perhaps, more likely, we simply will never know all of the dirt that T-Roy was doing in the streets by himself, rolling solo, while his right...
It's like, see, that's what I meant. Like, what happened to T-Roy, you know what I'm saying, just moved out of Chicago, you know what I'm saying, like a different state to just start a better life and maybe start a family. Like, what happened if he did that, you know what I'm saying? Maybe would he still be alive today? You know what I'm saying? Because you really never know. Because if he was, then he probably were Von and them. Von, you know, some probably would T-Roy by his side in this group. Like,
hand man,
we
King
never
Von,
know,
was
dog.
fighting
We
his
really
murder
never know
case.
for real.
But whatever the case, only a few months after the death of Big A, on the 14th of February 2017, T-Roy would be lurking again, this time in the South Shore neighbourhood on the east side, more specifically on East 71st Street. The rumour being that T-Roy was looking for an op called TB, or Terry Barry, who belonged to the rival set Taekwon World from the West Woodlawn neighbourhood. TB was known to hang out at that location and even had pictures of himself in front of the stores there. There were even rumours that T-Roy had actually upped his gun or even shot at TB and his friends earlier that very day, particularly after a member of Taekwon World called Two Times would put out a remix of King Von's song Crazy Story, with many arguing that he's actually describing the events of that day. Whatever the case, from the now available security camera footage, we can see that around 11:50 AM, T-Roy would enter a grocery store on 71st Street, together with another person who he had apparently met just moments earlier. Interestingly, this person would later tell the police that T-Roy had told him about an encounter that he had on that street earlier on, with someone apparently asking T-Roy, "What are you about?" Only a few minutes later, two men would approach the store from the same direction, with one of them stopping to tie his shoelaces, as if knowing that he would soon have to go on the run. Meanwhile, in the store, T-Roy is walking around and talking with his friend in a cold storage aisle, unaware that these two men are lurking outside the store. Finally, those two men would enter the store, walking directly to T-Roy and his friend, with the first man seemingly acting as a diversion, preventing T-Roy from noticing that the second man was approaching with a gun. That second man would then pull the gun out, shooting T-Roy once in the chest, before both men run out of the store and escape the way that they came from. Meanwhile, T-Roy crawls behind the clerk's counter while throwing his own gun under one of the shelves, whilst his friend seemingly runs out of the store. The friend would then return and attempt to help T-Roy together with the store clerk, but for several minutes, T-Roy can be seen laying on the floor alone without anyone doing any of the basic first aid measures, such as applying pressure to the wound or attempting to keep him awake, that might have saved him. Finally, police and emergency services arrive to the scene and begin helping T-Roy, while the store clerk begins to explain to the police what had happened. And eventually, T-Roy is carried out of the store and taken to a hospital, where he would unfortunately pass away. Soon, the news of T-Roy's passing would reach the other members of the O-Block Alliance, and members would be devastated.
I mean, but then at the end of the day, T-Roy know that you're saying that's possible that could happen. You're saying you in the streets, bro. You live by the gun, you die by the gun, but you live by the streets, you die by the streets. You know what I'm saying? Just a matter of time before it came, unless he would have like moved out of Chicago. You know what I'm saying? And try to just, I don't know, man, bro. It's just RP to everybody that lost their life in the Chicago scene, dog. Like, I don't risk. Like, I just don't get why my people always want to fight. I just don't get how my people always, you know what I'm saying, would help others and fight for other people. But when it comes to our race, our people, we're so close to, oh, beating somebody, oh, what you're looking at, oh, what you're looking at, this and that, killing each other. Like, it just didn't make no damn sense, dog. It really
Stated,
don't.
especially King Von, who would be crushed by the news while still in jail fighting his case. And Von would later explain breaking down on that day when he first heard the news of T-Roy's demise.
You know, I'm gonna figure this shit out. It'd be cool out there. I call folks. It's like, this on like Valentine's Day, you see what I'm saying? I call folks, I'm calling, I call. Now, I call my mama. My mama call. Now we try to call T-Roy, she ain't answer. We try to call T-Roy, he ain't answer. I wham. Nah. What I do? I gotta call somebody. I probably call a hoe or something. I call a Zaria, so I call a something. I call a hoe. Then, wham, I call my mama back. And she crying and shit. Mama, what you crying for? You good? You know what I'm saying? Ooh, they shot T-Roy. T-Roy got, what? Who? What? Oh, look at the phone. You know how that shit go, you in jail, you can tell, hold on, what? Now we calling around, what's going on? He got hit one, some shit. Oh, damn, what the fuck going on out there? I'm T-Roy, got shot, look, this the thing, y'all don't know T-Roy. Y'all gotta leave our history of T-Roy, y'all don't know. T-Roy got to go further, that's T-Roy, that's T-Roy, oh, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't know T-Roy like I know T-Roy, you know what I'm saying? So when I hear he get shot on, you don't want to talk me like, don't be lacking, don't be, you know?
Crazy is, remember we saw that, crazy, you know how we saw that video? I don't really think T-Roy was really lacking. I just think, well, I don't know, dog. I don't know, man. It looks like he was just hungry to catch somebody, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, at the end of the day, you're in the streets, you know you have a possibility of losing your life in the streets regardless anyways, bro. Just a matter of time. Either you die in the streets or you get locked up 25 years of life. That's only two options, dog, really.
You know, he's going to each other, you know what I'm saying? Because me and him, we back to back. That's my boy, you know what I'm saying? Folks got shot. I said, hold on. I said, the streets, hold on. Who got shot? Who? Now, he a gangster. He got shot before. He a gangster. And the folks ain't make it, I'm throwing them out. I play it out, you know me. You know, you got to play it out. You in jail, that's all type of goof ass around. You know, these 30 people. All of your business on King David, I walk it off. I let it sit in, Now my homie from out west, out west Willie D and them and Junior on 4 of them. I fucked up his hard on King David, same game. Now they see me, I'm just walking around in circles on the deck, you know. And they put their arm around me. When I'm like, damn, you good, bro? You good? What's wrong with you, Vaughn? Yeah, I'm good. What's wrong? You got a phone, man? I'm good, you know. They what happened? I mean, they just killed T-Roy. Who? He what? I'm T-Roy. They just killed T-Roy. Oh, I got breaking down on King David. I couldn't help it. They hugging me. These some real. You know what I'm saying? We grown ass men. Folks grab me to hold me. Get to there, you gonna be alright, shorty. You gonna be alright. Oh, hold on, boy. That's my best friend, boy. Somebody just killed my best friend while I'm in jail.
Yeah.
I'm in that bitch better go crazy. Oh, I'm in that bitch, don't know what's going on. I'm in that bitch in that. Who the fuck is y'all? I'm in that bitch mad on. Oh, yeah. I'm in that bitch in that. Nah, not my best friend. You know what I'm saying?
T-Roy's old friend Chief Keef would also tweet about him paying homage on Twitter following his passing. Although he had been estranged from many of his old O-Block friends due to events that had taken place years earlier while Keef was still living in Chicago, where O-Block veteran Boss Top was accused of robbing Keef's house. The fact that Keef still paid homage to T-Roy in spite of everything that had gone on with O-Block just showed how much of an impact T-Roy had had on Keef, the true pioneer of Chicago drill music. Meanwhile, following the murder, T-Roy's enemies would be reacting with glee. including FBG Duck, who would react to T-Roy's death live on Instagram in what many have considered to have been a fake reaction, with the rumour being that Duck's brother, FBG Brick, who can actually be heard speaking in the background of this video, had in fact been the person who gave T-Roy's location to his killers.
If he get like, how they know? See, this is what. How they know where? How they know though? Because remember, if Brick possibly gave the location to T-Roy's, like location of T-Roy, look what happened to FBG Duck. Someone dropped his location, and fortunately, he lost his life too. And history repeats itself, dog. It's just sad that we seen that killing each other for what? We seen that killing each other for what? Because you're from this neighborhood, you rep this set, or he reps that set, or he from that neighborhood, oh he dissed my homie. Yeah, Sonny.
Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, this Instagram, it deleted yesterday. It just came on. But damn, G, don't start. Till a get killed. Till a get spilled. Damn, they on here talking about what you think about T-Roy getting popped. Damn, T-Roy got popped? When that happened? When T-Roy get popped? Damn, somebody popped him. Is he dead? Is he dead? Did he die? Damn, merchant, they popped T-Roy. It must don't be, it must ain't that important. It ain't all over the internet. I ain't seen it.
No, he know he's seen it, bro.
Surprisingly, even with all of the high-quality security camera footage that the police had, they would ultimately struggle to find the identities of the killers for years, until finally in the fall of 2018, they would have a breakthrough after a member of the Gang Investigations Unit made a positive identification on both men. They would recognize the shooter as Terry Barry, better known as TB, the very man that T-Roy had allegedly been hunting on the day of his death, while his accomplice would allegedly be identified as DeAndre Wallace, better known as Tuckerville Man or Get Right. However, by this point, it was already too late, because both
that's Get Right? Oh, damn, I didn't know
men
that.
had already died, falling victims to gun violence, just like T-Roy. Their deaths so soon after the murder of T-Roy would make many convinced that their deaths were directly related to T-Roy's murder, as seemingly foretold by the ominous tweet by Booker600 after T-Roy's death, but more about this later. After still frames and videos from the security cameras would become available publicly, revealing the killer's clothing, the internet sleuths would quickly recognize what was really going on. It would turn out that these were the very same clothes that TB and Man had worn in pictures posted on their social media earlier that same month. They would also dig up an old tweet from TB in 2015 where he would seemingly predict T-Roy's death by his own hand, as well as creepy posts from T-Roy's Twitter account that TB had retweeted after killing him. The murder of T-Roy by Terry Barry was brutal, but it was nothing compared to what would transpire over the rest of the year.
Oh, I forgot about Get Back Gang. Oh my gosh. I forgot after that T-Roy died that they had to start a whole new group called Get Back Gang. Revenge for T-Roy. That is insane, bro. Get Back Gang is insane. It's crazy.
Ultimately,
for real.
T-Roy was one of O-Block's most fierce shooters and savages who was ready to kill at a moment's notice. He was feared in the streets and beloved by his own gang, but ultimately, despite his reputation, his days were truly numbered, and it would only be a matter of time before his enemies caught up with him in the same way that he had caught up with them. Following the death of T-Roy, remaining members of O-Block formed a new group called Get Back Gang, who waged a brutal revenge campaign in T-Roy's name. Their primary goal was to get back for T-Roy, murdering his killers or anyone that had something to do with his death. Following T-Roy's murder, numerous people from the other side would lose their lives in quick succession, making 2017 one of the deadliest years in O-Block history. Many high-profile homicides would play out in the months that followed, starting on May the 15th, 2017, when Warren Delton, aka Lil Ho from Jaro City, was gunned down. Lil Ho was just 44 at the time and was believed to be the uncle of 600 Breezy. On the afternoon of the 15th of May, several rounds were fired in the 6100 block of South Eberhart. Warren Delton was found lying on the pavement, victim to several deadly gunshot wounds. Lil Ho was shot multiple times in his head, was ultimately pronounced dead at the scene. This murder would be the first victim of the Get Back Gang killings, with O Block being responsible, and rumours that 600 members were also present too. Despite the possible family connection between Lil Ho and one of 600's most well-known members, 600 Breezy, Lil Ho was known to be a moneymaker in the area, and due to his age, it's unlikely that he was even involved in this war at all, but simply being from Jaro City had made him a target of Get Back Gang. Just months ago, Reddit Chiracologists would even release new information about the incident that had been uncovered through the Freedom.
There were 4 shooters and they stood over him. How do you know that? How do people know that they're standing like? How do they even know that?
Information Act, with a new document revealing that there were in fact 4 shooters present at the scene, with one of them standing over Lil Ho when killing him. It was clear that Get Back Gang was aiming to kill multiple rivals for T-Roy. Commenters on Reddit would later share how at this time, this murder was seen as a warning that a storm was coming. Redditors have since mentioned the dark reality behind this murder, specifically within O Block's close ally 600, as even after Lil Ho's murder, 600 Breezy had been pictured with McAdoo, one of the alleged shooters who had killed his uncle Lil Ho, with some people even commenting how crazy it would be that your day one homie kills your uncle, but you don't care because you put your gang over your family. But Get Back Gang was only just getting started, and 7 days later, they would strike again, this time against their GD rivals, MOB. At around 8 PM on the 22nd of May, 27-year-old MOB affiliate Jamo, real name Jamie Jones, was driving near 59th Street in LaSalle in the Washington Park neighborhood when a car pulled up alongside him and shot Jamo in the chest, back, and arm, before turning southbound on Yale Avenue and fleeing the scene. Jamo was taken to a hospital where he was later pronounced dead at 11:55 PM. Another recently released police report shows that Jamo exited the car after getting shot, possibly to get help, but ultimately he would collapse in the street, whilst his car would remain in motion, eventually crashing. Dusky from MOB would pay his respects to Jamo after hearing about his death, which would prompt Mimo600 to like the post, a creepy but common tactic used by gang members to taunt their ops during this time of grief. Shockingly, similar to how Lil Ho was actually the uncle of 600 Breezy, Jamo was allegedly the brother of 2 Front Street members, a set which has also been very close with both O Block and 600, with this being yet another reminder that in Chicago, your own family members may be killed by your friends if they get on the wrong side of the gang war. There's many theories speculating about exactly who was involved in this murder, with the majority seeming to believe that it was McAdoo from 600 involved in this hit, essentially pinning 2 murders on him within just a week, with another main suspect being Capfuck12 from 600 and T-Roy's brother Heck, aka HK from O Block. Get Back Gang had now allegedly killed 2 ops in 7 days, all in retaliation to T-Roy's murder. However,
killing 2 ops in 7 days is...
gang that was most likely directly responsible for T-Roy's murder, Taekwon World, had not yet faced any direct consequences, but O Block clearly had no plans on stopping the Getbacks, with members like E-Dog tweeting that more Getbacks would be coming that very summer. And indeed, the next month, Get Back Gang would allegedly strike again in yet another brutal murder, with T-Roy's brother Heck allegedly beginning his own spree of vengeance, earning himself a fearsome reputation in the Chicago streets, just like his late brother, as well as a new nickname that would warn anyone who crossed him just how deadly he was on the streets. Poppy was the right-hand man of TB, or Terry Barry, the man who had seemingly shot and killed T-Roy, and the two were even seen together in multiple photos, even collaborating on music, earning them their most popular song, Taekwon Way, a tribute to their gang set Taekwon World. Poppy was just 18 years old, and much like many other teens of his age, he worked a normal day job at a local business to make ends meet. On the 16th of June, Poppy was working his shift as normal at the L&P Candy Warehouse, which was located on the 7047 block of South State Street in the Greater Grand Crossing neighborhood, just a few miles away from the main war zone around the Woodlawn and Washington Park neighborhoods. At around 3 PM, Poppy had been helping an elderly female customer take her shopping back to her car. Whilst he was literally at work helping a customer, a maroon-colored vehicle would pull into the parking lot, and a masked man would exit the vehicle and begin firing an AK-47 style automatic rifle towards Poppy, striking him 3 times in the head, once in the lower body, once in his back, and once in his right upper arm.
Getting multiple tickets hitting the board for a person shot. 7-5 in state, 7-1 in state, 7-0 in state. First ticket's coming in as 7-5 in state. Says male shot inside the candy warehouse. White car did a U-turn to go westbound on 7-1, possibly back on the express. expressway. Unknown if that car is involved. One caller saw two male blacks on the ground shooting near a white sedan parked at the candy store. Male black, 6 foot with dreads and a white t-shirt and jeans. Per 7383 Adam, offenders jumped out of a maroon car and fired the shots. Got back in the car and went northbound.
We got multiple shell cases out here.
Another ticket says that a male black wearing a white mask took off in a car. Didn't remember the color. Last thing getting on the expressway. Maroon vehicle, last thing northbound on state with the male black shooter.
From the victim to county hospital. Ambulance 65 is taking another one. I guess the female.
It was a dark color 4-door vehicle. The passenger jumped out of the vehicle and shot the victim in close range.
The victim worked at this candy store.
Is that the male or the female?
The female is not shot. She just failed. She's not shot.
We know we have a male with a gunshot wound to the head, unknown condition, ambulance.
Oh my gosh, dog. He was working. Hey, man, I mean, you really never know if he is really like trying to like do better for his life, because sometimes people that grow up in a situation, they really don't have much, so they really focus onto the streets. That's really all they look to, bro, is the streets. They probably were good at sports, but you can't do that because probably your friends or some people that you're cool with probably in a gang, so that probably pulls you to that. You know what I'm saying? It's just sad,
14, the Stroger, an unknown name.
Victim's last name Ryan. Date of birth 04 June 99. Male black. Critical condition for now.
It's believed that this despicable act of violence is when Heck, short for his real name Hakeem Murray, got his new nickname HK, which allegedly stood for Headshot King. Poppy was ultimately taken to the Stroger Hospital, where he was unfortunately pronounced dead around 6 hours later. But to make matters even worse, the horrific aftermath of the shooting was recorded and is actually still circulating online, which is far too graphic to show you here. In the clip, Poppy's almost lifeless body could be seen clinging on in his final moments, whilst distraught members of the public can be seen around him, frantically attempting to give first aid and help him pull through. Meanwhile, the woman who Poppy had been helping put things in her car before the shooting could be seen laying on the floor, screaming in shock, and according to reports, she would remain laid out on the floor until the police arrived. This goes to show you just how brutal and senseless the violence can get in these gang wars, with members having zero sympathy or consideration to the life-changing trauma that they're putting dozens of innocent people in, on top of the actual murders themselves. Unfortunately, this murder was very personal, and the killers from O Block didn't seem to care who got in their way. Poppy was indeed affiliated with the gang and the person who had murdered T-Roy, and he had been rumoured to have killed at least one person to himself. Now, it's unknown exactly who was inside the maroon vehicle, as no arrests have been made for this murder, and it would turn out that that store was located right next to a freeway, essentially giving the shooter a perfect chance to escape the area instantly after the hit. However, in true Chirac fashion, the alleged perpetrators, including HK, who was the alleged shooter, would begin hinting at their involvement almost immediately. Heck would begin to be referred to as HK or Headshot King, an apparent badge of honor based on his accuracy with the gun that day. Furthermore, the day after Poppy's murder, HK was seen flaunting a chain of his big brother T-Roy, something that members are known to do when they have avenged the said person on their chain. Further insults and taunting from O Block members would implicate HK as the shooter, such as Melly from O Block visiting the candy store and shouting out HK, together with a post that reads, "If you know, heck dat savage." There are also other O Block members who have been rumoured to have been involved. For example, in the days following Poppy's murder, E-Dog would tweet comparing killing to the feeling of sex, a trend seemingly made popular by C-Day from 600 in a brazen tweet he put out years earlier. However, on the other side of the war, after news spread about Poppy's death, TB would share on Twitter that he was devastated. The two had been extremely close, and it would later circulate.
And this stuff is just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, dog. It's just back and forth.
Following Poppy's murder, TB would suffer mentally, allegedly checking into a mental health facility twice during this period, with this seemingly confirmed by a later article by one of his teachers. Killing such a close friend to TB and a beloved member of Taekwondo World, Get Back Gang were getting closer and closer to the person responsible for T-Roy's death. But they were not done killing, and it still seemed like anybody could get it. Then, just 12 days later, Get Back Gang would continue their murder spree, this time killing a female affiliate to MOB and an innocent woman.
What?
White girl, real name Janine Dowell.
What? Damn, bro. it's a female that's involved or something, but that's, you know, that's bad, dog.
Who also went by Janine Sharrell, was a 32-year-old woman living in the MOB neighborhood. Many internet theories have pinned her as a set-up chick, however there's no evidence that I've found to support this. In reality, she was a mother of 3 and nicknamed Miss Make It Happen due to her dedication to grant her family their wishes. Unfortunately, it would seem her proximity to O-Block's enemies would make her a target for Get Back Gang too. On the 28th of June, Janine was driving in an SUV with another woman named Juliet Washington in the Washington Park neighborhood. As they approached a red traffic light and stopped, 2 shooters would approach the vehicle, pulling up beside them and shooting into the car, hitting both victims multiple times. As the SUV rolled into the sidewalk, both shooters ran back to their car and fled. The news would report the 2 women in the car as deceased, and heartbreaking pictures would be taken at the crime scene as people learned the tragic news and had to be held back by police. After the murder, Washington's auntie was interviewed at the scene, with her appearing completely shocked.
Bro, what? 2, and they both died? She was coming down here to fix her daughter some food and she was on her way to the gas station, bro. Bro. I mean, we don't know if she even did anything, bro. She probably just lived in that neighborhood and everybody knew her, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you just live in that neighborhood and people know about you, you know what I'm saying?
As to why someone would kill her niece,
Damn.
who was not affiliated with anything gang related and rarely even visited the city. Sadly, it appeared that Juliet was simply collateral damage, with the real target likely being White Girl due to her affiliations with people from her neighborhood. Eventually, McAdoo from 600 and Lil Scud from O-Block would be arrested and charged for this double murder. Prosecutors alleged that it was around 10:30 p.m. when McAdoo and Lil Scud pulled up in a stolen grey sedan behind Washington's stopped SUV at Warbush Avenue and Garfield Boulevard, with this being in the heart of MOB's hood. They then got out the car, approached the SUV on foot with handguns, and carried out the extremely brutal double murder, firing almost 24 rounds in approximately 15 seconds.
What?
Clearly, they wanted to make sure that White Girl didn't survive. One of the alleged motives for this gruesome murder is that White Girl was looking to cooperate in a battery case against somebody allied to 600, and thus it's believed that McAdoo and Lil Scud were supposedly paid to do this hit. This is supported by the fact that McAdoo reportedly made 15 calls to the person from the case.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy, y'all. That's real crazy. I'm not gonna cap.
In the hours before and after the murder. In just 2 months, McAdoo had been implicated in 3 murders, and now his life as a free man had finally come to an end. Meanwhile, MOB were left mortified by this situation. Jarmo and White Girl had been killed by Get Back Gang in retaliation for a murder they didn't even commit. White Girl's murder was referenced on the track Street to Me by Lil Mo, Six Blocker and Ruger, where they rap, "Can't believe they killed Janine, that was a whole girl." Whether White Girl's murder is seen as part of the Get Back for T-Roy or just a paid hit is irrelevant. She was the 4th murder within 2 months, carried out by the same group. With McAdoo being involved in the first 2, this is clearly a continuation of the gang's relentless murder spree, which had now seemingly broadened to contract killings. And sadly, they would not stop there. The next month, Get Back Gang, or so-called OB600, named after the 2 sets O-Block and 600, who had become increasingly tight during their recent violent escapades, would commit another double murder, catching 2 family members of FBG Duck on the very same night.
Oh, this one they call Brick? Damn, bro. It was not playing when they're talking about Get Back, bro. Yes.
Kobe Mack, who was from Taekwon World, is the cousin of infamous rapper from 63rd and St. Lawrence, FBG Duck, while FBG Brick is Duck's big brother.
A lot of us don't understand, like, everybody think Duck, like, y'all know Duck, but anybody that really know Duck know me, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And I ain't get my name off rapping, you know what I'm saying? Just something I always had a passion for, you know what I'm saying? I started doing it, but that ain't where I got my name from. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I guess by Duck getting his name from rapping, being over famous and shit, motherfuckers see me and like, oh, that's Duck brother, but the motherfuckers that really know, you know what I'm saying, know what I be on and shit. And that's my little brother, you know what I'm saying?
Your little brother.
Little brother, yeah, my big little brother.
That's what's
you know
up.
What I'm saying?
Brick too was very close with Taekwon World and was often seen with Terry Barry and other members in his music videos. It's even theorized that Brick may have been the very person who actually gave TB T-Roy's location before he was killed. And fans believe this is actually why Brick was seen pictured with TB and Get Right around that time when those two were wearing the same clothes that they wore in the surveillance footage on the hit.
That's crazy.
The day after T-Roy was killed, Brick was heard in the back of FBG Duck's live stating how proud he was of Taekwon World that they had killed T-Roy. Duck would swiftly tell him to be quiet as he's on live before going on to pretend that he was just finding out that T-Roy is dead that moment from his chat.
Yeah, look on them on here going good. They so happy. It's been funny as hell because I know folks know proud. They got him out the way. I know I'm on live, G. Shut the f up. It's funny. Before you even get it, it just came on. But still, this Instagram, it deleted instantly. It just came on.
In the midst of Get Back Gang's murders, Kobe and Brick chose not to stay low-key. On July the 17th, a block party was thrown in STL EBT territory on the 6300 block of St. Lawrence, where the duo was in attendance. Whilst Brick and Kobe were in the porch area of the house, a white SUV pulled up and a person hopped out, approaching Kobe before shooting him multiple times. Brick was then chased in the alleyway next to the house, where he too was also shot several times, and both would end up losing their lives at the scene, with Brick supposedly being left on top of a fence that he had tried to jump over in an attempt to escape. Furthermore, graphic images of Kobe's corpse lying on the grass were also revealed to the public in news articles which covered the murder. On top of that, a viral photo also circulated which depicted FBG Duck and his mother, Mama Duck, mourning the loss at the scene. And recordings of the aftermath were also released where Mama Duck can be heard screaming and crying, with her chilling outpouring of grief echoing all throughout the neighborhood. Mama Duck has since given more insight into how the double murder played out in numerous interviews. According to her, one car was waiting in front of the house where Kobe was, whilst another car came behind the house, the direction where Brick was attempting to escape through the gangway. This all appeared to be a planned ambush, almost as if they knew that Brick would run that way.
From witnesses and people who have told me that supposed to have been a car waiting in the back behind where they were standing, and then a car came up the one way, and they instantly shot Kobe, and Brick tried to run and jump a gate and was shot in the back. And he was also, I'm assuming the way his autopsy report was, that as he was running towards the back, somebody was back there waiting on him. So I was...
What? They were waiting back there knowing that possibly he was going to run back there? That's damn, bro. That's crazy.
Shot in his face.
Like a damn GTA mission, bro.
I got his eyes until I went to identify him.
The autopsy report would show just how gruesome and violent these murders were, with Brick shot 6 times and Kobe 9 times. Now many suspect that HK, Cap, McAdoo, Trey 5 and C Murder were the ones responsible for planning this hit, with Redditors saying that this was almost confirmed. Some years later, C Murder would apparently be identified as the shooter of Brick in articles that detailed legal paperwork that had circulated after he was charged with the murder of FBG Duck. Brick's mother also believed that Cap was involved and even commented on a post claiming that he was implicated in killing Brick. Cap and Brick actually had a history of back and forths on Twitter just a month before this, where Brick can be seen insulting Cap and claiming that C-Day has no respect for Cap. Brick may have actually been telling the truth, as C-Day famously said that the Ops should have killed Cap instead of Trix, which according to some rumours was due to a love triangle. Although the tweet could have likely just been C-Day's way of hinting that Cap was the one who had been hurting the Ops the most, but in 2019, Cap would tweet again, disrespecting Duck and Brick. But Brick was not innocent in this war, and Mama Duck would later say in a live stream how people didn't even know the half of what he had actually done in the streets.
I ain't finna sit here and act like motherfucker tell me something like you act like Duck was innocent. He the was.
I mean, Duck probably was innocent. You never really know. He probably just wasn't rapping hip hop. People around him that was doing the work. You know what I'm saying, guys? That's gonna wrap up for part 2. Be back for part 2 tomorrow on Tuesday, man. I'll see you guys later, man. Remember, be back for part 3. Part 3 will be the last part of this. Be back for it, man. We out.